All right, welcome. I'm going to show you really quickly, or as quickly as I can, how to get through that first built-in tutorial that's in the Autodesk Fusion 360. So I tried to do this quick recording during class time today, but the audio capture was really bad, so I'm going to do it one more time here. So I've launched up Fusion 360. I'm already logged in, and I'm going to go to the help and pick the step-by-step tutorials. So once I click that, I'm going to go to the most basic one I can find here, which is the basic design, and I just ran through it, and so it's this one right here. It's going to be the foundation for that lamp. Now, one of the things that you'll notice is it starts up in a brand new document. So if you actually stop partway through, it may not bring up the tutorial window as easily. And one of the things I find frustrating in this is I think this is actually a web page over here. And you can't actually see on the laptops that we have that the browser, you have to kind of scroll a little bit to get to it. The other thing that's kind of weird is that you can drag it from the corner to resize it, but you don't want to cover up this little navigation cube in the corner. Now when you click on it, often you have to click twice because once you're clicking in the window to activate it and click next to get there. So here we are. We're going to start off and we'll try to chug through this real quick. So first thing it wants us to do here is make a cylinder. So we're going up to the Create menu, clicking on Cylinder. And you need to pick one of these planes. We want it to be on this bottom plane. Click in the center, drag out. It really doesn't, and click again. It doesn't matter what your dimensions are to start off with because you can now go over here to this little properties dialog and put in the size that they want. And I think it is 350 by 80. And if we wanted to see that one again, see what the measurements are, we click here. Remember, you got to click once to get the window active and click again. And there it is, 350 by 80 millimeters. I go ahead and click OK. And it doesn't say it here, but if you look really carefully, they actually go to this button down here, the Fit. So that'll give you a view so you can see it all. Now, the next one, click on that window, click again, it's asking us to go to Draft. So it says go to the Modify and then click on Draft. And this one gets a little bit tricky. If I go to here and click Draft and then try to select what they're showing me, I can't actually select these planes. I can select the bottom plane, but I can't select the plane that they're actually trying to tell me to select. So watch this. See that little plane sticking out in this view, and yeah, I can't do it. So in order to make that happen, you have to kind of grab this and pivot it up so that you can select that plane. So you can't select it through the top of the cylinder, but only there. So I'm going to click there, so that gives me the first plane that I'm going to do my draft on, and then select the top layer. Now I get that little controller where I can tip it, and you'll notice the degrees on the right there, and I'm going to select 15 or type it in. Once you're done with that, you say OK, and we've made it through step 4. I found a lot of students got stuck on that one right there because they couldn't select the plane. Click, and now we need to make this a project. So they kind of cut this off, but we're in the Sketch menu, Project, and now we go to Next. And then ask you to select the plane. Now in this case, I think I can just barely, there it is. I can select that plane, and it's going to turn the guy sideways. And then I want to select I guess the full circle of the top. It gives me a nice little selection there. So that's step 6. Step 7, it's telling me to use the line command. And so I might go right to the next one. And this gets a little bit tricky too. I saw a lot of students struggle here trying to draw this line. Part of the problem is that when they start drawing it, they don't have enough room above it. So that maybe before you select line, click down here on the little pan. That'll give you a little hand to move. Or the other kind of trick is if you zoom in and out, you can kind of control where it is. If I zoom in down here, it zooms in towards that. If I zoom out from there, it'll do this. It'll move in relation to where my cursor is. So I'm going to start it off down a way so I have some room to build up. I'm going to go to Sketch and make my line. I'm going to click, make sure it's blue and on that line. And I'm going to go up. And I can start typing these in here. I found it a little bit easier, 350 millimeters. And then 90 degrees, and it's now looking for me to actually click. So I'm going to click. And then it's looking for a couple other values. So 120, and if you hit tab, you can go to the next one. So now if you notice, it's locked to 120, and it's asking for degrees. 45, and I hit enter. And now it's still looking for me to click. So I still need to click. And then lastly, they're drawing a line down, and I think they were just like at 71 degrees, nothing specific. So we did that, and now we have to go up here and say stop the sketch. So this is kind of like us just drawing a shape on a particular plane that we can work with next. And then it doesn't actually jump back to the view that they show you next. So we'll probably move it in just a moment here. Yeah, we'll go back up to our little navigation cube or pivoting cube. And next it says right click on the sketch profile. But when you do this, there's a lot of kids that get stuck here too. They get to this, they click, right click, they're like, it's not working. I click on it, I right click, I'm not seeing extrude. Extrude's not there because you need to first click on the face first, then right click it. Once that face is blue, then you can right click on it or control click to get the extrude option. We click extrude, and basically everything in this one's controlled over here in this little tiny palette. So what do we need? We need a couple values here. 45 millimeters. 45 millimeters. We want it to actually be symmetrical, so it's going to go on either side of that center line that was there. And they're telling us to create it with a new body, and I think that's because we're going to still modify it a bunch. And there we go. 45, symmetric, and new body, and okay. So there we've got that thing. I'm going back to my little orbit cube here. And we're at step 10. So I click, and like I said, it doesn't work the first time you click. You got to click in the window and then click again. I'm not sure why. Because probably using a web API for it. Next, we're doing a fillet. So here, if you try to do the same thing, you try to just right click on that without selecting your face first, it's not going to work. You need to select that line segment first, then right click on it, and you'll get the fillet option. When you go ahead and click on fillet, here's my little window. Hello, fillet. Click, let's try one more time. Click off of you, click on you, click, right click, fillet. Ah, here we go. So in this one, the radius it wants is 50. And you can see that one immediately gives you a pretty little curved edge down there. Say OK to that one. And they're saying to do it to the top one too. So they're referring to this one. Click once to highlight it. And then right click on it to get the fillet menu. And this one, they're saying 100. So that's got us to the next step. All right, number 11, can we do it? Next, we're going to do an offset. So this is under the sketch menu, and we're going to grab offset. So let's go to sketch, offset, and now it's looking for a face or a plane to go to. I'm going to select this one, and it turns it around, which is kind of nice. And now you need to click and select and drag that line in. And it's giving us, what, 30 millimeters as our specified. You can click on it. You can still change it after that. Okay. Now, if I wanted to undo this, if you get to any point where you have to undo something, you can come down here and actually jump back a step or delete a step. So if I didn't like this offset one, I can usually once the sketch is done, you can come down here, right click on it, and delete that one. So let me try that one more time. I'm going to do the offset. I'm going to pick that face. I'm going to click this outer edge. And I'm pulling that one in, but I'm going to say 30 millimeters and hit enter. And now I don't think you want to leave sketch yet. You don't want to stop the sketch. You want to do what it says here, and it is to select and hold to drag. This is another case where you got to click it first and then drag it. If you just click and drag, it's not going to be happy. So I drag that one out. You're just going to basically be cutting that area out and then stop sketch. So now it kind of turns it back. If we click one more time here, we'll see it's going to use the press pull dialog. So you need to select the face first, right click it, and then click the press pull there. Now if you ever use SketchUp, this is a kind of a common push pull kind of tool where you slide something out all the way to the point where you break it. So in this case we're using it and it's going to cut something out and we say OK, and now we've cut out that space, which is kind of groovy. So we're almost there, it says. So now holding down the shift, they want us to curve in those other areas in different spots. Now one thing that's worth noting here is that if you're too far away from a face, like if it's out here somewhere, when you try to go highlight something, you're only going to be able to select the points, and it'll drive you mad. So you need to make sure that you're close enough to it that you can pick just the line segment. I've seen students struggle with that, where they find they can't select the face they want. So I selected one, and holding down shift, I'm going to click another, and another, and another. You could do all these separately if you really wanted to. Control click now, and I'm going to say fillet, and 25 millimeters, bam, and enter. And I think we've now got it to be what it's looking for. Now the last little bit of this, let's see, does it have another piece after that? And oh, we want to do this top edge. So we're just filleting everything here. So we're going to select that top edge. It could be in kind of any orientation here, and you can see it, but it'll make it that nice kind of smooth. Right click, fillet, and that one's also at 25. Voila. Now, if we were actually going to go print this out, because these are two different objects, we'd have to do more to it. If we did want to actually export this for 3D printing, you'll notice that the problem would be is that if I already have Cura installed in here, so I could leave that one selected, but it's asking me to select a piece, and I can't hold down shift and select both. It won't let me. So if I really wanted to print this all as one piece in a print, I can't go directly there. I have to actually use a modify and use the combine option. So I can do select one, select two, and let them join, or I could highlight the whole thing and tell it to select. And I can choose to make it a new component or keep the tools. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and say OK. Now if I wanted to go do my 3D print and select my object, now it's all selected as one object because it did that Boolean combine, and I can say OK and try to export it to Cura. Now the model that they gave us in the measurements are way, way too big, as you can see, for Cura, or for our Ultimaker. So you would probably need to go and size this one down quite a bit. If I select that object, and I guess I'll do this while I'm right here, we really only need it to be about 20% of that. So if I do a full scale, and the scale is all uniform here, I can do that and turn it all the way down. I still do need to rotate it because of the way it was built, the orientation. I could probably tell it to change that. I do, is it 90-degree turn? And now remember in Cura, it's a right click to turn and spin and do your rotation. So that one at 20% is still going to give you about 2 hours. So I hope that was all helpful. I hope you could follow along with it. I know the tutorial is a little bit of a challenge, but good luck and be nerdy.